Before I start, I should tell you all that I signed up for this stuff before I realized that the movers who are bringing things to my daughter were going to show up this morning, which is why I've been very distracted and a terrible, a terrible slide sharer. Sorry. But I was going to tell you, Solveig encouraged me to tell you about my friendship with Sushil Jayapal, who's running for U.S. House of Representatives. So I'm going to tell you about developed relationships on the interpersonal scale and how it's impacted me with my friendship with Sushila. So it's been one of the real blessings of my life that Sushila and I roomed together in college. We roomed together our sophomore year, so we chose each other, but we chose each other not knowing each other very well, and just bonded. And she was born in India, but grew up in Malaysia and Indonesia, and her family was living in Jakarta, and I grew up in the suburbs of St. Louis in a pretty white bread background, and here we are in college in Pennsylvania, and we find out we have more or less the same family, that both of us have a younger sister who's 2 years younger. Her younger sister, incidentally, if you don't know, is Pramila Jayapal, the representative from Seattle. And our mothers are more educated than our fathers. And our fathers spend a lot of time moping about how hard it is to live in a family with 3 women. And so we just, we laugh about to this day that we had the same father in a lot of ways. And we had a lot of fun in college. And even though I'm 5'10" and she's 5 foot nothing, she borrowed a lot of my clothes. We wore a lot of the same colors. I couldn't borrow hers, obviously. And she was brilliant. She was the outstanding senior woman. And when we were rooming together once, she needed to write a paper. And it was a comparison contrast of 2 novels. Remember those? And so Sunday night, she read the first novel. Monday night, she read the second novel. Tuesday night, she screwed around until 10 and then pulled an all-nighter writing this 20-page paper. And then it came back with the professor having written on it, A+, you made me want to read the books again. And I was like, I am rooming with God. Because, I would have spent 3 weeks on it and gotten a B-. Anyway, but I think the thing is that it's been a gift that we somehow both ended up in Portland and have been together. Our kids got to grow up alongside each other. She's been there for me in crises. I've been there for her in crises. And I was trying to think of a good story of when knowing her has changed my points of view on stuff. And I don't have a good story, but I know there have been so many times when she's kind of called me out on my assumptions or my conclusions and made me think harder and how much I value that. But I did want to tell you a story about her, and then I'll be done. When she was a Multnomah County Commissioner, that is part of why I'm so excited that she's running, not just because she's my friend and I love her and I want her to do things, but when she was elected Multnomah County Commissioner, there are trainings you can go to, and most Multnomah County Commissioner, they're held statewide. Most Multnomah County commissioners over the last 20 years haven't bothered to go to these trainings, but Sushila decided she would go. And at a training, she sat down at a table with somebody she didn't know, and it was a newly elected commissioner from Union County. He's from LeGrand. And they didn't have much in common politically. Among other things, he concealed carries, or pretty much all the time. But they got talking and they agreed that it would be really helpful if each of them visited the other's county. And we were having coffee right before she was going to Union County. She's like, really, I don't know why I signed up for this. This is going to be really hard. I am sure I'm going to be the only person of color I see who's not Native American and stuff. And it was eye-opening. And then she brought him back here where he it was eye-opening for him. One thing that happened when she was in Union County is she talked to him about his concealed carrying. And he said, well, that he didn't actually bring the gun when he went out to the bar because he knew that his judgment was going to be a little bit impaired. And she said, well, I would think that's one of the most dangerous times in your life. And she made him think about it. And then when he came to Portland, she took him to the Behavioral Resource Center. And he, of course, had to turn in his weapon to enter. But he also was very aware of it. And at the end of the trip, he said, I'm not carrying as much. And he says, I'm not sure I'm going to carry at all anymore. And so the power of relationships to really change people and the power of listening. So that's my story.
Wow.